Every once in a while, I'll go on these rants, and then I have to go back towards all the ideas I presented and then kind of pick apart what actually makes sense. This time, I was so lucky as to think to catch video of myself ranting. So I edited it down for y'all, and then I'm gonna kind of review what I said at the very end. You know what a dwarf is? I know what a dwarf is, but do you know what dwarves have been missing? Have you ever thought about it? Have you ever thought hard about like a rework of dwarves from the core? Well, I was just thinking about it, and dwarves are great. You get the mining, you get the this, you get the that. But what if we went at dwarves in just a completely different angle? What if we redid dwarves to be a little closer to elves, but like not the Tolkien elves, because they have a very interesting and detailed backstory. No, I'm saying what if we redid dwarves to lean into mysticism? More specifically, I am thinking we make dwarves a little more psionic in nature, and then we give them more magical nature. Now, this won't necessarily work in 5e. I'd probably have to make a different system around magic being made super common, super interesting. But I just it was like bouncing in my head, so I had to make a video about it. So here's what I got in mind, right? So 1D&D had that thing where dwarves had tremor sense, and that was like, oh, cool, so you're like magically tuning into the earth. What if you could just fully manipulate the earth, right? So screw your pickaxes. This dwarf can touch a wall, and he focuses his energy, and he like caves part of it around. He's like telepathically pulling it apart through kind of psionic energy coming out of the earth. Maybe we stick something at the earth's core that gives them this power, and then it weakens the farther up they go. I like that. I like this. Let's say we make a setting, and at the core of the earth, we have a giant gym. And that gym radiates psionic energy. Now, around the world, this is normally not a big deal, but one tiny little species, just kind of wandered into the earth and made that spot their home. Now they are absorbing that psionic, build up the psionic energy, and they gain the ability to manipulate the world around them. But the deeper you go, the more powerful the psionics are. So I'm picturing dwarves, drow, other underdark-ish creatures in this hypothetical setting start just building up, and they have this entire ant network basically beneath the earth. And the deeper you go, the more powerful everything is. First off, this makes a more natural dungeon format, of course, because you're going down and then things are getting deadlier. But more than that, you get the dwarves, when they go to the surface, they are putting themselves at risk. It's also why dwarves might not necessarily be the best at warfare. We could also do the same thing with dwarvish goods, where it's like, yeah, it was enchanted through the crystal's energy. Ooh, crystal energy. Put that into the setting description. Crystal energy, and then divine energy, and the farther from the core you are, the more divine energy you got, and the core, you got more crystal energy. So what we can do with that is magic items from dwarves, the higher up you go, the weaker they get, and divine magic items, the closer to the crystal you get, the farther from the sky, the heavens, the divine you are. So those get weaker too. So we just have these two kind of competing forces, right? I don't know where I was going with this. This is really just a rant. I'll probably put some disclaimer like, yeah. My mind was running, so I made a rant. But what if we do something like, what do we do with this? What if we do a divine realm, the crystal realm? So what if we do just like a divine realm, and then we have the crystal realm? We could rewrite an entire setting around this, right? So I don't think I'll probably do any of this thing, but let's say I rewrite 5e from the ground up. We can have like 3 classes: divine caster, warrior, psionic caster. So psionics get more powerful down and less powerful up. So while at the core they can make entire cave systems, at the top of a mountain they can maybe manipulate a rock a little. And then at the top we can have the divine realm kind of projecting downwards. So whenever you're exposed to light, you get more powerful spells. So with our 3 classes here, we could have we could still do leveled spells, and we'd assign them to divine or crystal, and then those would be the 2 classes that can cast. And it would be like the level of spell you can cast at changes depending on your height from sea level, I guess. And then you have the fighter who's good all the time. He didn't specialize in something that isn't entirely consistent. And you could make And you could make, I think, a very interesting setting around this. So, I don't know. Maybe I need to just go and put this somewhere. Imagine reworking 5e into that. Maybe not even 5e. I like the Creative Commons that 5e's got, so you could write stuff into the 5e format. So I really like this. Maybe I get like a, I don't know, 50-page booklet. Let's say 3 classes, 3 subclasses each. Let's say 3 races. We'll do dwarves, elves, fighters. Maybe we class lock. Maybe we race lock the classes. So we could do only dwarves get to be psionic and only elves get to be divine. So it becomes basically, so you can be a fighter dwarf or a dwarf crystal energy user, a fighter elf or a elf crystal energy user, or a human fighter with nothing special. And then the humans basically took over the entire surface world, and the elves took over the mountains of the realm, the dwarves took over the beneath, and then we need to write in some monsters. So what would that look like? That'd be, let's say we do like a 50-page booklet where it's just these classes, a setting, map-ish, a single adventure. It could be a really nice book. So what I picked apart was I kind of made a setting concept. Basically, 2 forms of magic. You make the elevation a major factor, so the higher you go, the more powerful you are for the divine magic, I called it. And then the lower you are, the more powerful you are for the crystal magic. And then you tie into 2 races with humans acting as a kind of default that could contrast with the stuff with the other races. I don't hate it. I kind of talked about writing it as a full system using the 5e Creative Commons bits to build it up. But the problem with that specific concept is I can't really sell that, and it probably won't even be particularly high quality. But I might work on it if this video is super successful for whatever reason.